How are we, fellow Reds? And welcome to this bonus international break Manchester United episode with me, Spen and Chaz. Before we get into it, as always, if you subscribed, if you're following us, huge thank you. If not, and you're a fellow Red, get involved. Please subscribe, please follow. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple, and we're on all the socials. We'd love to connect with you, and we want to make sure that you don't miss a thing. But Chaz, let's start with Carrick. Currently sitting in third in a pretty nice spot. Top of the form table, since he joined with 23 points from a possible 30. Just to get some of the stats out there before we dive into it. He's won 7, he's lost 1, he's drawn 2. Goals for is 20 and goals against 11. And that's just in this stint. So obviously before, in his previous stint, he'd had a 2-0 win against Villarreal, a 3-2 win against Arsenal, and a 1-1 draw against Chelsea. So mentioning that just to, give us all a bit of context around the job he's done and been doing. Pretty good, right? According to Opta, we've got an 85.57% chance of making the Champions League this season, which makes me nervous because
I wonder what
that
it
feels
was
pretty good.
when he took it before he took over. I wonder what those stats were before. I wonder if it was like 60 something.
We were
maybe
7th, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but we were still only like a few points off. But yeah, it can't have been like major capitulation to not get it.
Yeah,
whether it's 14.43%, whether it is to go wrong, but yeah.
So that's some of the data. But then from your point of view, Chaz, Michael Carrick, pros and cons. What do you think?
Pros, obviously, you've just listed them with all the stats. Basically, it's like the performance on the pitch, the results, the table. Like, I think he's done better than anyone would have expected. And it's almost like I feel a bit bad for him in the way that he's done so well that now people are like criticizing him for, which is fine to criticize him, but almost forgetting what he's done and how bad we were and where we were and how many chances we had to be in the top 4 or 5 throughout the season, which we never grasped. And he's come in and he's grasped it, and we're up to third. So I think what he's doing is amazing. Obviously, we've discussed it on a few pods that there's been some, I guess, slight concerns creeping in, which is fine to have. But overall, you've got to say, like, if he keeps doing what he's doing and keeping that win rate, you've got to give him the job, right? Because the risk of not giving him the job and bringing someone else in and it not working is massive. Particularly a manager who's maybe not got experience in the Premier League, or the options which are available in the Premier League aren't like, you've got to get that manager, got to get an amazing, like, future world-class manager type thing. None of them are standing out like that. So, yeah, from my perspective, like, the pros are massively outweighing the negatives at the moment.
Same, yeah. And like you, I'm trying to look at it kind of objectively as well and really, not be too biased by what's going on now. But he's winning more often than not. Like you said, there's a couple of question marks over some of the performances, but getting the job done, just calm doing it. There's a calmness around the club while he's there at the helm. He's kind of saying the right things, doing the right things. He looks the part. We always mention about he knows United and knows what we're about, but that is massive. And some people above him have no idea what the club's about as well. So at least having a manager who gets it is pretty important. Jason Wilcox doesn't really know us apart from the outside. Omar Barada doesn't know us from the outside as well. So I totally agree in terms of the pros. Cons for me, really, of course he's lacking experience at the level. But we know other managers also have had that.
Every manager has to lack
have
experience at some point, right? That's how you get experience. You can't instantly become a world-class manager. Like, even if you look at Pep, for example, like, he still had to do stuff at Barcelona B beforehand and go in and kind of be groomed to that role. And Klopp was an instant success, and he managed to win that one title eventually. So, like, no one's a world-class manager on day one. Like, you need experience, and how do you get big experience if you're not allowed to be at a big club? Like, it's such an odd criticism to throw at people, right?
Yeah, and our mate Mikel Arteta as well, obviously another one.
Yeah.
So there's examples there, but I understand it. Obviously, if there was an obvious, and we'll get into some of the options as well
Yeah,
potentially. But if there's a manager out there where you just think this guy's got it all and won it
yeah.
all and he's available, I understand that.
Like,
But it's
yeah,
not
if you
looking
had
that
a
way.
Pep available now, let's say literally Pep was available and he
Yeah,
hasn't been at City for the last 8 years, whatever, he's been at, I don't know, AC Milan, you'd 100% go do everything to get Pep, and we'd love him as a manager. And you'd probably say that about maybe Enrique, we're going to discuss, but there's no one out there that you're like, you've got to get him. Even like Ancelotti's a great, an amazing man, done amazing, but he's getting on a bit. So is that really like a long-term goal? So you just think, yeah, there's so much risk involved with any other choice when there's no obvious choice, if that makes sense.
yeah. And like you said as well, it's, we're all kind of enjoying it at the moment. And if we rip Carrick away, then there's always going to be that what if question, isn't it? I
Yeah,
mean, let's look at the other side of it. We're definitely like burnt by the Ollie experience, which I think sometimes we don't look back on that properly either as well. But I do think there's a lot of people worried that it's just going to be an Ollie Mark II and we'll give him the job.
yeah.
We'll overcommit and then it'll go
Thing
not very
is,
well.
the Ollie Mark II though, Ollie came second and third and got to Europa League final.
yeah,
Like that was obviously not acceptable in the old standards, but we've got so much worse since then. Like
yeah,
if say Carrick takes over and in his first 2 seasons he comes second and third and he gets to a final European competition final and maybe he wins it, I don't think people are going to be clamoring for his sacking. Obviously, when Ollie got sacked, he was further down, but like you can look a lot
yeah.
more uh, positively back on Solskjaer's performance now in the light of how badly everyone else has been with it.
Yeah. No, and to be honest with this, Chad, I'm really just trying to kind of bring the devil's advocate a little bit so we properly assess him. But yeah, I think there is some of that in the thinking, right? And there's obviously probably a little bit looking at his Borough experience where he started really well and then he kind of tailed off in his second season and obviously
Yeah,
ultimately ended up getting the sack. But surely as well, that's a learning experience from him where
yeah,
it doesn't mean that that's going to be how it goes again. You'd hope that a clever guy like him and what he's been doing, he's going to learn from that experience, right? And think, okay, if anyone's going to be aware of that, there'll be nobody more so than
yeah,
him thinking, yeah, in my last job, this happened. So how do I stop that happening again? And he's pulled some good experience around him as well to hopefully
yeah,
learn from that. But yeah, they're probably the things that people are leveraging at him on
yeah.
the
And I guess
con side.
one
Anything
one
else?
one thing from me, I guess, is the lack of. I guess it's not necessarily a plan B as such because we are on the whole we've been winning lots of the games. It's just maybe not seeing enough of those changes, or again, there's not a lot you can change when the squad's so thin. But like
Yeah.
maybe Sesko should have been starting more. Is that kind of a blocker to his style that he only wants to play this certain style? He doesn't really want that type of forward. I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to think of another potential con. Um, but
Yeah.
again, you hope that with a bigger squad, more competitions, you'd see that sort of flexibility next season. Um, so yeah, that's probably it. I can't really see like he's overachieved everyone's expectations, um, and you've got to take a positive from that, not negatives, because it's similar to what Ollie did, and we sacked Ollie
Yeah.
like 2 seasons later. Like I think you just got to be enjoying it, and then take a full review at the end of the season essentially and see where he stands. But if he continues at a win rate, like I think it's madness to look elsewhere really.
Yeah, and we don't have to commit to a 10-year contract or anything like that,
Exactly.
do we? You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
We could be sent. I'm sure Carrick could be kind of open to that as well because of
Yeah.
the opportunity that he's got. So yeah, and just on that point, then in terms of a process and chatting to other people, I get a little bit confused by what I hear in the media because we heard that kind of Jason Wilcox had started this process of identifying the next replacement, but then more recently I've been hearing that apparently there's been no
Yeah. Not spoken to
contact
anyone. Yeah.
with potential candidates. So
I feel like that can't be
it's odd,
true.
innit?
It must be, there must be
Nah, surely
conversations
not.
in the background, maybe not official, like talking to clubs managers about talking to their manager or talking to Brazil to talk to
Yeah.
Ancelotti. You know what I mean? There must be, apparently Omar Barada's got like an amazing network. So he's probably talking to agents and stuff. I think there must be whispers and stuff. If not, again, I'm very concerned by this structure if they're not
Yeah,
talking to people. But they've got to be.
same.
Because you think about the way we went about
Just
the
to do,
transfers last summer, like they got this stuff done quick. We knew who we were going after. Obviously, the umbrella
yeah,
one dragged out, but everyone knew who we were going after. He wanted to come. I just got to think they must be doing it in a similar way. But like those things, like the Kuna one, we signed him like 5 days after the news broke about it. So maybe it'll be a similar sort of thing like that, where it's suddenly, oh, is it Carrick's got the job, or I don't know, Nagelsmann's coming in or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
yeah.
hoping that's the case anyway.
Well, yeah, and just for the due diligence as well, right? Of obviously doing this properly, and it's not disrespectful to Carrick. It's what we should be doing as a
Yeah,
proper club and a proper outfit of obviously doing our homework. And if we do decide just to carry on with Carrick, as we've mentioned, at least we can say we have had some conversations. We've heard what other managers have had to say, checked the availability, and we've made an informed decision to kind of move forward with Carrick based on everything that he's done, but also what is available out there and stuff. So I really, really hope that we have been doing what we, that as you say. Let's get into some of the potential candidates then that may or may not have been spoken to. I think in terms of odds and the names we've been hearing, the list that I've got, and feel free to chuck some other ones in here, Chaz, as well, is, Luis Enrique, you mentioned, Nagelsmann, Iraola, and Emery. Any others that you think are
there was Glasner was in
potentials?
there a bit. De Zerbi's been in there a bit, and apparently, again, some of the old podcasts from the Athletic. This is probably a couple of months back now. I mentioned them being people they were looking at. Um, but yeah, they're probably the main ones.
Yeah. Well, let's maybe dive into them. I think the Glasner thing is it's got to be unlikely now, right? With kind of how how
Yeah, I think
he's
so.
gone with
Yeah,
Palace
yeah. I
and
wouldn't
all.
want him anyway. Definitely not.
No, same. Obviously with his in preferring a bit of a 3-5-2 as well.
Yeah.
Is an interesting bit. Emery, I can't see it really. Can you?
No, I think I think he's doing a good job at Villa, and I think I think he almost deserves another big club, but not United. I think it's like
Yeah.
a big club in Spain, or like could he do an Atletico Madrid, or could he do a AC or Inter or Juve? I kind of see him doing well over there, but don't see him like I really like him. I think he's a great manager. I just don't think it's quite there for us. He doesn't quite do it for me.
No, same. And it seems to have almost quieted down on him in links anyway. And I don't know if that's tied to Villa having a bit of a drop off. But
Yeah,
yeah, I don't really see that either. And he's not someone I would be excited to replace Carrick, I don't think.
nah,
But yeah. Iraola obviously has been doing really well. To be honest, from what I've been hearing more recently, I think he's just Bilbao bound. I think it just feels
already.
like a good fit. And obviously,
Yeah,
yeah, he's been quizzed about it. He keeps calling it his club. And I think if
his
that
contract's
suit
up as
comes
well,
up
right?
and
This this
yeah,
summer. So yeah, I
yeah,
again, if I basically know is my word on him. I just don't think he is. He's a solid Premier League manager, and maybe he could go away to Bilbao and do really well and challenge for the league or something like that there. But I just don't see. I don't think the step up's there. I think it's too risky. It's a bit hammering me. Obviously, he's got Premier League experience, but nah, it's just not a big enough character for it. I don't think.
yeah, we've seen it's a totally different job in it as well. Like
Yeah,
look at Thomas Frank doing a really good job at Brentford, then going to Spurs and having a nightmare.
yeah,
I don't think it guarantees that you maybe deserve a chance because you've been doing so well at a smaller club with smaller resources, but I don't think that's a natural transition into a big opportunity like United.
no,
I'm being probably a bit disrespectful to some other clubs, but go and cut your teeth at Spurs or somewhere on that
yeah,
other
yeah.
level before you
Championship
try
football.
and get. Yeah, exactly. Before you get an opportunity at Man United, I think you should be at a level, and obviously that goes against what we were just talking about in terms of Carrick. But Carrick's at least got that connection with the club,
Well, you see, he's
and
also
obviously he's
doing the
come
job
in.
already. That's the thing. He's already
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
job.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
like, yeah, if this was, I don't know, say, I don't know, someone else had taken over, and just kept kind of ticking over, and it wasn't doing well. Maybe we get fifth or something like that. But if Carrick's name was in there and he hadn't been there, no one would consider him. But at the end of the day, he has
Yeah.
to be considered now because he's basically doing the job. He's doing well, so that's why his name's in there versus an Iriola, and why I'd rather keep Carrick than risk a kind of up and coming, trendy-ish, smaller club manager.
Yeah. No, great point. I agree with you. I, let's then maybe look at two of the bigger names who could
Yeah.
be more of a fit, and then one day it looks like it could happen, one day it looks like it's totally off. But the two probably that I keep hearing is Nagelsmann and Enrique. What do you think about those two?
So Enrique obviously is the one that I would probably the only one that I'd probably be excited about over Carrick. And he's probably the only one that I would go, actually, it's worth the gamble. Say Carrick gets third, I think I'd still want Carrick. But if they did switch and it was to like Luis Enrique, you go, okay, fair enough. The guy's won 2 trebles. He's got a decent chance of winning another treble this year.
Yeah.
So you got to go, well, yeah, but the risks are still massive. He's not worked in the Premier League. The squad that we have isn't as good as the PSG squad. It's not as good as, obviously not as good as Neymar, Messi, and Suarez when he won the other treble. So how does he translate? And we won't have $500 million to spend in the summer, which could turn that squad into, because if he came in and goes, okay, I want this massive war chest to build my team, and it's not so far away that you probably need like 5 world-class signings, but 5 world-class signings is 500 million, pretty much. So then I would be very confident of him coming in, but because that doesn't exist, then there's still massive risk involved with him. But he's the one I would be least scared of having and the most excited about having. And then Nagelsmann, I'm less on him. Less kind of. I'd probably just choose Carrick over Nagelsmann just because he's like a better hipster version of like Ten Hag. I think he's like Ten Hag but better.
Yeah.
But is he good enough for us or not? He obviously won stuff at Bayern, but not enough stuff. Fell out with, I know lots of people fall out with the board and stuff at Bayern, but that's a slight concern. And he's been in international football for the last couple of years. I'll see if he wins the World Cup with Germany, which I don't think he'll do. Yeah, again, doesn't get me super excited. I don't know what you think on those two.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it. Nagelsmann just feels slightly, and this might be unfair to him because I don't know loads and loads about him, but feels it's a little bit unproven. And obviously that could be exciting to maybe bring him in and see him grow, but I don't know.
I think we've been burnt by
Enrique
Amorim, right?
Yeah, that's it. We've been burnt by many. But the problem is we've been burnt by all kinds of managers,
every type,
proven, unproven. Yeah, so that's why I'm just really nervous about all of these. But I do agree with you, just based on where he's at in his career, what he's won already. Enrique is probably the only one where I'd say fair if he's available. Puts a really good plan and idea across, and it fits with, again, really importantly for me, fits with how Barada and Wilcox see United and a United manager, and carrying on kind of what Carrick's done and started, not coming in and saying, right, we're doing things my way, completely different. It has to be a fit for the United way and the United philosophy. And if Enrique can kind of show that and bring then his experience and his track record, fine. But I think we're agreed, Chaz, aren't we? It's Carrick for us, isn't it? Until there's a reason not to.
Yeah, I think I saw that Enrique maybe said he's probably going to sign a contract extension. I think I saw again on some news outlets. So I think he's probably not even available anyway. So in that case, it's 100% got to be Carrick, unless we lose the next 7 and end up in the Europa League or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, I just don't think there's enough desirable candidates out there that are worth the risk. I think there's one, and that's Enrique. I don't think he's going to come. So.
No, there's a clip of him with a fan who kind of said, I want you to stay. And he kind of said, me too. And then he mentioned the United job and he kind of laughed it off. So you never know what that means. But yeah I think we're both we're both pretty agreed on the Carrick. Obviously, just mentioning a couple of other names, so Tuchel and Ancelotti, we pretty much know they're both out as well, right? With
Yeah, I
their
think both
current
signed
roles and their
contracts.
contracts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ancelotti's loving his
exactly.
life on the beach in Brazil.
Yeah, so yeah, going back to us being totally prepared, that's just the manager.
Yeah,
But like I say, I think Spen and Chaz are team Carrick
yeah,
until convinced otherwise. Like
yeah.
I say, don't have to throw a 10-year contract at him, but let's keep this going and hope he can come back from his Dublin camp and we can have a great end to the season and then we can go into summer with a bit of stability because we've then, Chaz, got the small matter of a team to sort out as well. But until then, thank you for watching as always and we will see you in the next one.